some Australians woke up to underwear on their windscreen with a very naughty note attached, leaving them in big trouble from loved ones. So people woke up to panties that, or 1,000 G-strings were dropped and left on cars with a cheeky note on Friday morning saying, hey, wild thing, you left these at my place last night. Nala XXX.
Nice. Yeah, that's so was this like a marketing scheme for like something or what? Because I hope it was, and it got underwear. A lot of people in trouble.
Marketing scheme for a new pizza shop.
Pizza. G-strings. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Here's some used panties that we bought online for you.
You know, I was thinking of starting a pizza business, and that's the perfect marketing. Wow.
We did get one in the mail of, it was a letter that said, "Dear neighbor." So you open it thinking, oh, one of my neighbors has an issue and it's written to me, or like it doesn't, no one is writing a letter like that when you think, oh, this is not going to be good. And then you open it and it's like, oh yeah, I'm a new pizza shop that's just opened.
Exactly. Yeah.
But in that case, it was a pizza shop. In this case, it's an underwear brand. That yeah. But there are people saying that, like, you know, their husband or wife opens the car, goes to the car and sees this and thinks, what was going on last night?
Yeah, it's going to be, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of passive aggressive treatment going on once these were seen. That I think is what would play out in my life. Be like, whose panties are on the car? Like, what's going on?
Why is there a note? I wrote it to myself in a drunken mess.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people would have got killed over that. So there you go.
Yeah. Good way to start off your marketing of your brand is to
get a lot of customers killed.
Create some divorces.
I mean, you need people to, be exploring the dating scene. They might end up with more business in that case if they're looking for new undies, I suppose. I don't know. But I don't encourage it. I don't encourage it because I feel like there's one dude out there who was playing away from home, and he did, like, it all came out because of this marketing campaign.
Yeah.
He lost everything.
That's the story you don't hear, is the guy that did get caught. And he's like, what? She told me her name was Jess. Why is she written Naylor here? And then,
He's just like, look, it was one time this week. The other weeks there was more times, but it was one time this week and I couldn't help it. And she's like, oh, it's just marketing for her. He's like, yeah, I was just kidding.
Yeah. I knew it. I was testing you to see how you would react.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to work now. Yes, I feel like there's that one dude out there who did get stung by that badly, but there you go.
Well, yeah, I mean, it comes down to how you handle it. Now, this next story, this guy may not have handled things well along those lines. This girl's boyfriend likes her sister and asked, what's it like having a sister prettier than you?
Don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah. That's pretty. That's up there with like the stupidest things you can say to your significant other.
One of.
Yeah, it's up there. It's up there with them. There's more that you can say. Like, it gets worse if you say mother, but
or better. I don't know how you go.
Depending on how close the family is. But yeah, I worked with a dude once, and his brothers were like.
His sister was hotter than him.
No, but his
no,
so
she wasn't.
He had two brothers and no sisters. He had two brothers, but they were like the hot guys in town. Like all the girls would just like melt when those dudes came anywhere. I shouldn't have said those words, but this other dude was like, he was literally the runt of the litter. Like he was just like, nobody cared about him, but girls would get with him so that they could later get with his brother. Wow. One of his brothers. It was weird. But he didn't care because he was.
I think you got to take it however you can get it.
he was like, "This is great." so yeah. Anyway, don't tell your wife or girlfriend that her sister's better looking. Don't do that. That's life advice for free. Yeah. If you got like a death wish, maybe say it. I don't know.
Yeah. Quietly think of it. And keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Well, this article like goes on to say that like every time I brought my sister around my guy friends, though, I could see they were interested in her. So it seems like she kind of knows.
So the sister's a hottie.
Or she's ugly and her sister just...
She's a 3 and her sister's a 6. So they're all getting, everyone's like, oh, your sister, that's great.
Well, she could be a 1 and her sister's a 2, you know, you never know.
Yeah. By comparison though, sister's shining. She looks like a 4. Oh man. Yeah.
She's 23 now, dating her current boyfriend, 24, and I don't know why, but I've harbored so much anxiety about him meeting my sister for fear that he might be attracted to her. So she now keeps her boyfriend away from her sister because she's worried that...
I mean, you could probably trust your sister not to fuck your boyfriend. I'm just thinking, I mean, if you can't trust her, that's the issue there. Because, you know, just thinking.
Yeah, well, then she goes on to say, last weekend he met her briefly for dinner and they said hi, but I could tell he was struck by how attractive he thought she was. Since meeting her, he asked a question about who's she currently dating, and it's exacerbated my worries.
So let's just translate that. So they met briefly last week and said hi. He had a huge erection for the rest of the night. And
Now, this couple would have gone down really well if they found random panties on the thing. And
yes, indeed.
A maid posted photos of herself wearing her employer's clothes online without permission.
Yeah. I told her not to wear my clothes. Like, it's creepy.
My G-string is my G-string.
It's my clothes. You wear yours. Take pictures of yourself all you want, but not in my clothes. It's all good.
There's a reason I have one sock. It's not for you to wear.
That would be my fear if I had a lifestyle where I had a maid. I'd be like, you're wearing my clothes everywhere, damn you, when I'm not here. So yeah, what else are you using?
Jacket? Are you wearing my Guns N' Roses t-shirt again? She's like, you caught me.
What else are you using belonging to me? It sounds like I gotta get a new maid to keep an eye on you. Yeah, be quite wary of that one.
A woman ordered a Starbucks for $12 to be delivered. Sure. But when she got it, there was only 1/3 of her drink arrived. But she got a refund of $7.90 instead of the $12 she paid.
I would be looking for a full refund on that one myself.
But she got 2/3. She got two-thirds of the refund and 1/3 of the drink.
You know what? I'm just going to call it. That's someone else's drink at this point. As soon as they decide to take a little bit of it, that's their drink. Yeah. So they can give me a full refund, and I will go to one of the other coffee chains that's killing society. There you go.
Well, how do you know that your artwork is a pile of overpriced shit?
Because you're selling it, I guess. I don't know. Because let's see. Maybe is it literally a pile of shit that you're trying to sell and you're calling it art?
No, a famous painting in New York has been hanging in a museum for 75 years upside down, and no one noticed.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love that.
Because it's just a bunch of lines. And yes, an art historian found that it was hung upside down. But they can't change it because it could disintegrate if it was hung the right side up now.
I mean, that's not good.
Because the art is a complex interlacing of lattice of red, yellow, black, and blue adhesive tapes.
So it's some tape.
Yeah.
That's okay. That doesn't. How much is this worth? Because I've got some tape in my hand, so I can
it
make
doesn't
some
say
shit
how much
right
it's
here.
worth, but I'm sure it's going to be something absurd.
Yeah, Jesus. Well, yeah, I'm going down to the art supply store. Going to pick me up some hammers and some nails and some artwork supplies.
And hang it upside down.
Yeah, hang it like sideways. But fuck me, man. That is, yeah. You would think it's in over 75 years somebody would realize what has happened.
Well, yeah, especially when it's so obvious. I mean, it's tape. But indicators suggesting an incorrect hanging are multifold. The similarly named and same-sized oil painting, New York City, this is called New York City 1, which is on display in Paris, has the thickening of lines at the top. That's the end of the sentence. As they said, incorrect hanging indicators are multifold.
Okay, well, there you go. It's just, what a story. Journalism, my friends. It has never been at a higher level. Wow. That's
Well, it does say also the next paragraph says a photograph of the studio taken a few days after the artist's death and published in a magazine. Now, this should probably have given it away. Shows the same picture sitting on an easel the other way up. Oh. So I guess like if when the guy died, he had it facing the other way up, maybe that should have been the way that they hung it.
Maybe, you know, just goes to show you some of this art is bollocks. So, yeah, but there you go.
Now, this is very controversial. Some art person said it was likely that he worked by starting his intricate layering with a line right at the top of the frame and then worked his way down. Which would also explain why some of the yellow lines stop a few millimeters short of the bottom of the edge.
There you go. Yep. Yeah.
Couldn't get his tape right. You'd think if you have an art piece that's like internationally famous or whatever, you'd get the length of the tape correct.
You would, but maybe this dude was confused with what 10 inches was and what 3 inches was. Apparently that's a very common error that people make.
Well, it's millimeters, so that'd be 9 millimeters.
I mean, you still gotta not know your distances for that not to work. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, he never signed it, so they're saying that it's possibly because he didn't deem it finished. So they should not be hanging it at all. I say justice for Mondrian. Do not hang his unfinished pieces of tape on your thing as art.
Upside down, especially.
Yeah.
Invalidates the artwork.
the tragedy that has occurred in this man's name. And now most like art people that are gonna like make some multi-million-dollar piece of art out of tape would be the kind of wanker who would get upset that their unfinished masterpiece was hung as if it was finished. So I say he was going to finish those millimeters of tape, and they've dishonored him, and this is basically torture. What they're doing here is just it's wrong.
Yeah, disgraceful.
Disgraceful. I'm calling for the New York Museum to formally apologize for what they've done to this poor man.
I think they should. You know how long he's worked on that art piece? Like probably 2 or 3 hours. So,
and he needed an extra 20 minutes to finish it. He died of a heart attack.
It was so bad, it killed him. And look what you did. So, yeah, respect. That's what you need, art people.
He was getting so excited by it and the finished piece that he may or may not have jacked himself off to death.
Potentially.
Do we know? Were we there? No. So I cannot say with certainty he didn't jack himself off to death. So I'm just going to say he did.
It's not something that anyone can prove he didn't do.
I mean, there probably were people that could prove, like he probably wasn't found jacking himself off, but you know. I
mean, it could have been a delayed reaction. Could have just gone too hard. And then he just had enough time to tidy up. And then it was like, I'm over.
Put my pants back on. I'm going to try to finish this tape.
Yeah. He was too, his heart was gone at that point. It's just in the stages of collapse. There you go. It's my medical diagnosis of someone I've never met or heard anything about before today.
But you admire his work.
Yeah, of course.
As a man who likes to tape randomly.
As a man who has used tape many occasions for many different functions. Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes millimeters short too.
Once or twice,
I reckon that should be the new form of graffiti. Instead of
it should.
Painting,
it's a good idea.
Put tape places. These young vandals with their tape.
Yeah, I can see it. It'll be good.
Well, another very relatable story from the Jenner Kardashian family. Much like you or I, Kris Jenner reveals that she's had to buy a bulletproof car because she's tired of being shot at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Every time, when I was at the dealer, I was like, hey, is this car bulletproof? If they say no, I'm like, well, all right, well, I'm going to not buy this one then. Happens all the time. You just get shot at, get lasers pointed at you, all kinds.
Tape put on your window.
That's the worst. Yeah. So, I mean, who's shooting at the Kris Jenner or whatever her name is? Why are they shooting at her? Just because she's like on a TV show?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess. Big fans of Ray J who are upset that the sex tape, how it all went down.
Yeah. It's probably it's probably unnecessary. I don't know how often she's getting shot at, to be honest.
Daily.
I need to see proof of her car with like all bullet holes in it, like the one before the bulletproofness. Before I'll accept that. So, but because it seems like she bought an apartment and forgot about it. So you need proof that this is actually a real thing, or did she just want to spend more money? And this was the best idea she had.
Probably. I mean, I strongly doubt she's getting shot at that often.
Yeah, me too. I mean, she's driving around Beverly Hills. Who's shooting her? Yeah.
Ray J.
Of course. There's that, but just don't go into his neighborhood. Stay on the other streets. Around LA. It's all good, unless he's purposely following her around, shooting up her car. In which case, I feel like the police would do something about it.
Well, they should possibly.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, How long is too long to return a library book?
I think if you get to like a year, just keep it. It's your book now. They can't do much about it. Also, you can never go back to the library ever again. So,
what about 84 years later?
I mean, you know, at that point, keep the book. It's fine. It's fine. They're not looking for it anymore. They're not expecting it back. They think it got burnt or something. So.
Well, after 84 years, a library book has been returned. So a man, while cleaning out his mother's home last year, so he found a book and he knew it was too good for the bin, but he had no idea the fuss his decision to return it a mere 30,695 days late would cause. On a trip back to Coventry on Tuesday, the father of two popped back to the Earlsdon Carnegie Community Library with the outrageously overdue book. But being a numbers man, the retired Lloyd's of London employee wasn't content to simply return the book. He also whipped up an Excel spreadsheet to work out how much he owed for the overdue fee.
Why?
Luckily for him, the tardiness penalty was set at 1 penny per day.
Okay. All right. 1 penny per day is going to still add up, though.
Over 30,000 days, yes. But when it was converted into decimal currency, it came to a grand total of just £8.27.
Fuck it. I'm not paying it.
Well, he donated the money to the library anyway.
Dumbass. Yes. So basically you can keep a book for 80 something years and just have to, I mean, they will request that you pay £8 something back.
18.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
You could buy a book or you could take it from the library for 84 years.
Yeah. It's interesting, the whole fines for not returning your library book at 1 penny per day. 84 years. I mean, it must have been a really fucking good book to keep it even all that time. So you'd imagine at some point they'd come across it and be like, fuck, we better bring this book back. 60 years maybe. You're like, shit, next time. But I don't know, crazy times. Yeah, I would keep it. I wouldn't, and I certainly wouldn't be paying them from like returning their book. First, what I would do is look up to see how valuable the book had become over the time. Because if it's like a really old, really expensive book now, sell it and then be like, fuck the library. So, just my thoughts.
Yeah. But it's because you're just an asshole who doesn't care about libraries. Trying to send the library broke.
Trying to put the libraries out of business, damn it. It's my goal in life. Fucking.
If I achieve one thing in my life, it's going to be to destroy a library by not returning a book.
That library attendant when I was 7, I'm going to fucking show every library in the world.
She laughed at me for my book choice. Well, I'll be laughing at her over a grave when I don't return the book.
She was like, you're a boy. You can't get Barbie's Summer Adventure. It's like, I'll fucking show you.
And I did.
Good times.
Yeah. I reckon next time you should return it after 83 years.
I'll think about it.
Yeah. Well, this next article is entitled Pig Vomit Toxin Key to... What do you think pig vomit toxin is the key to?
Death. I know, having a repulsive afternoon.
Did you say Martian meteorite mystery?
Yeah, that's the first thing I said. Wait a minute. What? I thought I misheard, because what I thought you said was pig vomit is the key to a Martian meteorite mystery.
Toxin, not just pig
Oh.
vomit. The toxins in pig vomit.
Oh, okay. That makes it even more weird. So how is this a thing?
Oh,
What's
look
going
at
on
me.
here?
I'm too uppity to examine pig vomit.
Yeah. Damn straight.
A
Proud of it
science
too.
sleuth based in Glasgow may have helped solve a century-long mystery surrounding the discovery of a Martian meteorite thanks to a toxin which makes pigs vomit.
Okay.
The Lafayette meteorite was found in the drawer of an American university's biology department in 1929, but nobody at the Purdue University in Indiana could remember where it came from. One theory suggested that it was donated to them by a black student who witnessed it land in a pond while he was fishing. But this geometrist of the University of Glasgow began her detective work 2 years ago. So this woman spent 2 years to discover this amazing feat.
Okay.
And it has now shed some light on who the black student might have been and when it was handed in. Her work
All right.
began when her team were given a small fraction of the meteorite by the National History Museum in London. It's a meteorite from Mars, and these are really rare. That alone makes it really precious, and not all of these meteorites from Mars are in as pristine condition. So she crushed up the tiny piece of Mars and used sophisticated maths to find out what it was made up of.
Okay.
We ended up with a long list of hundreds of different chemical compounds. It was late March 2020, so I had nothing better to do other than just scroll through the list. Nothing better to do.
No, nothing at all.
She probably could have returned an 84-year-old library book and
Scientists had nothing to do in 2020 whatsoever. They had nothing to look into research or nothing at all. It was just
Especially
like a
in
dead
March.
year for them.
March 2020, there was like nothing to...
Nothing. No, nothing was happening. It was fine. She was just bored. And started looking into this meteorite thing. Yeah.
So one of them had a name that was called vomitoxin, which she thought sounded cool. So she decided to look into it. She found that it was found in fungus, which contaminates grain crops like corn, wheat, and oats. It causes sickness in humans and animals when ingested, with pigs being particularly affected.
Okay.
That sort of started this massive sort of rabbit hole because it turned out it's a massive thing over there. She then messaged some assistant professor on Twitter, and they, along with the university's librarian, it always comes back to the library,
It always
started
does
to
it.
do some detective work.
Well, that's not their job. So, all right.
3 people looking for, yeah.
Sounds like a case of some people on the internet got together to make up some fucking bullshit. But there you go. Here we go. Let's find out what they found.
Yeah. Her team suggested that the dust-affected crops may have carried in surrounding waterways. A whole bunch of, more technical stuff. There were reported fireball sightings across Michigan in 1919 and one in 1927. So 3 students who were enrolled in Purdue. So they got lucky that essentially there were 4 black students enrolled in this university at the time. So then they had to
4.
narrow it down from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
They had 4 black students. So progressive of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got
But they
1 in
don't
4.
know which of the 4 it was, but it was one of those 4, essentially.
Okay. All right.
But so going through all that, to summarize, essentially she went through all that random rigmarole in 2 years to find that it could have been the 4 black students at that university. But if you knew it was a black student, at that university to begin with. You didn't need any of that sciencey stuff,
No,
the detective work or any of that stuff. You could have gone to the only 4 black students.
Yeah.
Would have been one of them, which is where she's ended up. And essentially,
so
without a science degree, without spending 2 years or contacting 2 random people in America, we could have got to the same result.
Yeah. It sounds like at the very start of the process, we knew the answer already. It was one of the black students. And there was 4 of them. And so it was one of those dudes. It doesn't sound like they solved any kind of mystery, but they're trying to pat themselves on the back here and be like, yeah, we figured it out. It was one of the black dudes. I mean, it's not exactly the best scientific research anyone's ever done. So
no, that's up there with returning a book after 84 years in terms of just why
unnecessary things that happened. Yeah.
Well, after that absurd roller coaster, it's
Can I just, before we move on, that sounds like somebody's come back after like being away from work on during the pandemic and being like, so what did you do? I didn't sit around watching Pornhub all day. I found out this mystery. I've been talking to some dude on Twitter about it.
And there's vomit toxins and all this, and reached out to the librarian and we narrowed it down, and it could be one of these 4 people.
It's like a 4-hour presentation they had to give then on what they did for the 18 months they weren't at work. This mystery.
It was COVID. So first time that many of these people would have been working from home. So therefore she could have got confronted as to, you've been working at home for the last 2 years. What have you been doing? Because we don't see a lot of work here. Hypothetically, this could all be a ruse to cover the fact that she was not working at home and it was
just took 2 years off. Was like chatting up some dude on Twitter. Sounds like it. I mean, she had the answer at the start. She didn't find any new information.
This is my detective work. I'm going to message out to some random on Twitter and say.
Yeah, sounds interesting. I like, if this is research, scientific research, I'm pretty good at it because you start with the answer and then you find that same answer. Good.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I'm just going to say that all of that was hypothetical. We have no idea. She probably actually did some sciencey shit. We just aren't smart enough to understand.
It's not what I'm going to say, but all right.
Yeah. Well, it would be hilarious if we got sued for damage that caused.
We've been sued for worse. So,
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes you have awkward work stuff, such as this man who has a 9.5-inch penis.
Okay.
It's irrelevant to the story. I just wanted to say that.
It's just this dude. Yeah. Nothing to do with the story. He's just
he returned a library book. Did my research.
Indeed. All right. So, Mr.
So this guy with a 9.5-inch penis was rejected for a job because they thought he had an erection during an interview.
I mean, that's not a reason to not give the dude a job. So, it just means he's happy at work. So, he's enjoying his interview process. Yeah,
well, the man was told there's inappropriate behavior happening during his interview. He appeared on the aptly named Channel 4 My Massive Cock, which was an actual show that aired last week in UK. And the show looked at how well endowed get on in the world and the problems they face before explaining his penis is about 1/12 of my height. He even had special underwear made to support his penis and stop it falling out.
Oh.
Speaking about one instance in which he had to wear a suit for an interview, he said, the response I got was, you're not going to get the job. We thought you were a good candidate, but we thought there was inappropriate behavior happening. They thought I had an erection throughout this interview. and they were very much like, your attire wasn't right.
All right. Well, I don't know. I think maybe that's not the full length of the story, shall we say? It says.
Well, the article goes on to say viewers were stunned by one particular scene, which featured a 10.5-inch penis uncensored.
Oh wow! Was it like telling racist jokes or something? It's 2022. People can see penises. It's fine. Just, I think take away all the censorship of all the things.
Yeah, I think we need more shows like My Massive Cock.
What they should do is, if you're going to have, it's like for political, debates and stuff, when there's an election, they have to show balance. So there has to be both sides. So that show should also feature people with micro penises. And they should have to stand beside the people with the really big ones and be like, this is just to be realistic. Not everyone has a huge one. Some people have small ones, and that's okay.
Well, on that note, I did see a person with a custom license plate that was SPH, which may be their initials, but it also does online stand for small penis humiliation, which I just love the idea of someone driving around having no idea that their license plate, Scott Peter Hansen or whatever, gets a license plate.
Yeah. And what would be even more ironic is if he was into it. So it's all good.
I mean, it could be like, it could actually be like that. Yeah, that may not be their initials.
Someone just walking around, driving around, being like, promoting small penis humiliation. There you go.
It's taking the humiliation to another level if your license plate is.
For sure, just riding around the whole time, super enjoying your humiliation. Yeah.
Well, on that note, this next article says that tiny dicks might become popular again, according to experts.
Again. When was the first time? Who wrote this article? All right.
It says experts suggested that a small penis may become desirable at some point in the future, with the concept of the ideal dick size having been a fluid and ever-changing one throughout history.
Okay.
Throughout history, there are examples of entire periods when a big dick was seen as something to be ridiculed and smaller penises were far more desirable. Writes a writer who...
Written by John, member of the SPH fan club.
It is thought that thousands of years ago, a smaller penis was seen as a good thing. The ancient Greeks apparently saw a smaller penis as a sign of modesty, rationality, and self-control, and a big dick as a sign of idiotic lust and a lack of restraint.
It's not true.
John Clark, a professor in art history at the University of Texas, says in ancient Greece, a human with very large genitalia is considered to be grotesque and laughable. Definitely not a man who has an SPH license plate. Because his initials are JC, not SPH, obviously.
I mean,
the Romans then adopted these views, seeing large penises as something to ridicule and laugh at. Even moving into the Middle Ages, artists used large members to depict evil or heresy.
It's also not true. I think people with small penises are kind of trying to bring small penises into the mainframe and kind of trying to get people to think positively about them. Listen, it's fine. Just, just enjoy your small penis. It's fine. Don't worry about other people with their bigger ones. And don't be making up some bullshit article. Maybe someday in the future they'll be fashionable again. They were never fashionable. Don't worry about it. It's fine. People people just got what they got. You just got to deal with it. It's fine. Next life you might get like a big one. It's fine.
It says, in fact, it is thought that throughout history, cultures often featured both positive and negative connotations around large penis size, with the exception of the ancient Greeks who absolutely loved the small dick.
Absolutely loved it, did they? Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Sure, John, I get you. I mean, even if why would you publish this article? I mean, it's clearly propaganda for the small society. So,
yeah. What an article.
There you go. See, we put out balance on this show. We don't just talk about big and or small. We talk about both. In various degrees. So,
why you should chop and eat both of them?
All right. Well, there you go.
I say that back in time, eating them was a delicious, tasty treat.
The ancient Greeks, nobody can prove that they didn't. So,
I mean, people probably can, but
I mean, listen, this doesn't help my article. So, or the point I'm trying to make right now. So let's just pretend that I know what I'm talking about.
Well, finally, a hotel worker shares why you should turn off the lights as soon as you get into a hotel room. Can you guess why?
Should turn off the lights?
Yeah. As soon as you get into the hotel room.
Because otherwise the camera is going to adjust and be able to record everything you're doing, I think. I don't know.
Get in, turn off the lights, jack off, get one out of the way, and then...
Isn't that what everyone does as soon as they get into a hotel room? I know. Thought that was just like expected. Most of the time when you get into a hotel, like if you're just checking in, it's like afternoon time. I mean, it is any time I've checked in mostly. So,
I mean, it depends.
Yeah, I suppose you could. Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. I'm going to say something to do with creepy people across the street looking into your hotel room. But I don't know.
Well, she says the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure your room is dark, turn off the lights, close any shades, and use a flashlight on your phone. While everything is off, you're going to come up here under the covers. This one does have a mattress pad, but you're going to check under all the creases, as you should. So as soon as you get into a hotel room, you turn the lights off, get your phone out, turn the flashlight on, check under the mattress.
Okay.
And you're going to look under the corners and the creases for bed bugs.
Okay.
Even if you don't see bed bugs, make sure you check for spots like blood spots, because that's not a good sign either.
Oh, thankfully, someone finally has told me that's not a good sign to see blood spots on your bed you're going to sleep in. Thanks.
Which you're going to see better when you have the lights off and use your phone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. That sounds, it sounds like a crazy thing. Just turn the lights off, use your phone, go looking for stuff, get out a black light, look at all the cum stains on the walls and the sheets and the bed and the floor. Yeah, no thanks. It's all good.
I say you turn the lights on, take off all your clothes, roll around naked in the bed. And
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I know that's
get those mattress and the blankets all over you and warm them up. Let the bed know he's going to be sleeping there.
Let the bed know who's boss and what's exactly. It's gonna have many body fluids. But
you've got to set the standards for the bed. None of this. I'm going to react to the bed. The bed needs to react to you.
All right. That is a whole other self-help book that I haven't read. Your bed needs to react to you, not the other way around.
That's because I checked it out of a library 7 years ago and haven't put it back.
True. It's very true. There you go. Oh, good times. But yeah, I'd never considered that in a hotel. I think I just assume that I don't want to know what's in the bed, and I'll probably, like, if the reviews are bad, then I'm probably not staying at the hotel in certain circumstances. there's times I have stayed in places that I'm not too happy about.
Well, if you didn't know that, you would never have known that, like, looking for blood, that if there's blood on the bed, that it's a bad sign. Like,
what an insightful comment that is, for sure. I mean, I'm glad that person took the time to tell us all that. Another one might be, if you see shit in the bed, it's a bad sign. Bad sign.
Oh, okay. Whoa, okay.
The bed is wet,
things every
slightly
day.
warm. then you've had a bad dream.
Or a fun one.
Oh, yeah, depending. Yeah, it could be.
They say that, like, tiny dicks were back in the day. Maybe scat play in hotels was popular back in the day.
That one John dude said. Dicks like that. No one else did. But yeah, scat play probably. I mean, yeah. I've found weird things in hotel rooms when I've walked into them. Like a person. That was weird. Yeah. When I checked into a hotel one time and they gave me somebody else's room, basically, who hadn't checked out yet. And I just walked in and they were like, what the fuck are you doing here? I was like, what are you doing in my room? So yeah, they were still in bed. They were freaked out. They're probably still freaked out.
Yeah, it probably still lives with them and scares them to this day.
Oh, I would imagine me walking into your hotel room and, like, you're still in bed and you're not expecting me. That's not a good thing.
Now, that actually does bring up the problem of, let's say that you get to the room, you turn the lights off, you don't notice that there's a person already in the room. Now you're walking around in someone else's hotel room, you've turned their lights off.
Yeah. They're just watching you, what's he doing? Yeah, not a good look. Not a good look.
But a fun one nonetheless.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, I guess until next week.